The $30 billion Star Wars gamble. Could Reagan's plan have worked? Imagine a world where deadly nuclear missiles could be stopped in their tracks by a network of space-based lasers, a high-tech shield protecting the planet from annihilation. It sounds like something straight out of a science fiction blockbuster, but in the 1980s, it was almost reality. Under the shadow of the Cold War, President Ronald Reagan unveiled a plan so bold, so ambitious, that it seemed to defy the limits of technology. What was this daring initiative that promised to change the fate of the world? It was called the Strategic Defense Initiative, better known as Star Wars. In the early 1980s, during the tense days of the Cold War, President Ronald Reagan introduced a bold plan called the Strategic Defense Initiative, or SDI. Announced on March 23, 1983, the goal of SDI was to protect the United States from nuclear attacks by using space-based X-ray lasers and other advanced technologies to detect and destroy incoming Soviet missiles. Reagan, who deeply feared the devastation of nuclear war, believed that this system could make nuclear weapons useless and prevent a global catastrophe. From the start, many people were skeptical. Politicians and scientists questioned whether such a complex and futuristic system could even be built, dubbing it Star Wars because it sounded like something out of science fiction. Despite these doubts, the US government invested up to $30 billion over the next decade in an attempt to develop the technology. However, the ambitious project never became a reality, and it was ultimately canceled by President Bill Clinton in 1993. The idea behind SDI was to neutralize the threat of hundreds of Soviet missiles aimed at the US. Critics argued that the project was too expensive and technologically impossible. Some feared it could even worsen the arms race instead of preventing it. Nevertheless, Reagan was convinced that SDI could protect the world from the constant threat of nuclear war. While some scientists believed that with enough time and money, the technology could eventually work, others were less optimistic. A 1987 study by top scientists found that none of the systems being developed were anywhere near ready, and the challenges were enormous. Despite this, some aspects of the technology, like the US Navy's use of lasers today, suggest that parts of SDI might have been achievable with more time. The political and financial costs of the program, however, led to growing criticism. Many in Congress and the media began to see SDI as more of a bluff or bargaining tool than a real defense system. Reports that the Pentagon had faked test results to make the program seem more successful added to the doubts. In the end, while SDI never became the shield Reagan envisioned, it remains a symbol of Cold War ambitions and the desire to find technological solutions to the threat of nuclear war. In conclusion, the Strategic Defense Initiative was a daring but ultimately unrealized attempt to protect the US from nuclear attacks. Though it never succeeded, it reflected the hopes and fears of a world living under the constant shadow of nuclear conflict.